Welcome back, my 377 subscribers who have not unsubscribed yet. It's been 2 weeks. I missed possibly one of the best Dynamites in history, but things got busy. What can I do? So instead, to make up for it, I'm gonna review the cage match from last week right after this review. I want to talk about that so much. I really wanted to review last week's episode, but I just couldn't. But yeah, I'm pretty much back now. I'm gonna buy Double or Nothing tomorrow. So yeah, let's get to this review of AEW Dynamite, May 17th edition. Let's begin. So the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and it's killing Dynamite ratings so bad. They haven't hit 900K, but come on. The Lakers are about to be eliminated. Even the Celtics are about to be eliminated. The NBA is about to lose a lot of viewers because the Nuggets are about to make the finals. The Heat, I think, have a decent fan base. But the point is that the Lakers and Celtics fan bases, those huge markets, more so the Lakers, are about to tune out and hopefully tune in to Dynamite. But real talk though, if you really care about basketball, just like what Rusty Bucket said, you would watch the NBA Finals for the love of the game, and who gives a shit about the ratings? It's just the amount of money that some old white people will make. But yeah, in wrestling, ratings matter more. In the NBA, it's an actual competition. They're not putting on an entertainment product where the goal is to draw fans. Yes, the NBA also needs to draw fans, but you're there for the competition. You're there for the best teams in the world proving who's the best. And it's not a popularity contest. If you really care about basketball, you're going to tune into the finals no matter what. Or you can tune into AEW Dynamite. That would be cool as well. But yeah, as for tonight's show, this card looked pretty underwhelming. Especially when you remove Saraya and Jamie Hayter out of that Trios women's match, making it into a tag match. Ricky Starks and Jay White had zero chance of ending cleanly. Because, of course, their actual match is going to be on the pay-per-view. And Starks really isn't the in-ring guy, if you know what I'm saying. Jay White also isn't the most, explosive person in the ring. Ricky can provide that. But this is their first match ever, so I expected there to be, some chemistry issues. And they're not going to go there 100% since they're saving it for the pay-per-view, of course. And of course, the first match of the night, that I'll talk about after the first segment, was put together in the last minute. But the show ended up delivering hard. So yeah, let's talk about the first segment. The first segment of the night is kind of surprising, since it's not mic'd up at all. Like when Wardlow is calling out Christian and Luchasaurus, it's mic'd up. But when they finally meet in the ring, they use the camera mic. So I think everyone at home can hear it. It sounds so natural. I actually prefer this once in a while, because it's like they're having an actual conversation. They're not putting on a show. These are two dudes who are actually hating on each other. It sounds so natural, and Christian doesn't have to talk about Wardlow's dead father. Again, it's all about the title. It's all about who's better. It's gotten pretty intense and personal, actually, that it's sort of stepped over the women's feud. It's still missing a couple of things. They need to make the feud more personal. But it's closer there than the women's feud, than Orange Cassidy's feud. It's actually getting very interesting. This TNT title feud here is better than what we've had for the last few pay-per-views, which have been just afterthoughts, in my opinion. The storyline here is actually something. And then the brawl they have after this, where Wardlow essentially overpowers Christian and Luchasaurus. And this is how I expect the match to go about. It's going to be a handicap match from the start. And there's no way Wardlow's losing. It's going to take Luchasaurus and Christian both teaming up just to even things out with Wardlow. But you run the risk of just burying that combination. A very, very good manager and wrestler combination, but yeah, I mean, if you're trying to build Wardlow up back to how he was, this isn't a bad direction to go to. Christian doesn't really need to win anything, and Luchasaurus can go for I don't know, the International Championship. That'll be appropriate since he's a dinosaur. But yeah, as much as I like Luchasaurus, he's not up at TNT title level yet. Like, this is why I actually think Wardlow should be in the heavyweight championship division. Because he's basically been portrayed like this world beater. If you put him against like anyone else in the roster, he should be able to handle them like it's nothing. And when he gets to that heavyweight championship division and then he eventually gets beaten by Hangman Page, beaten by Kenny Omega, that's gonna piss a lot of people off, but come on. Kenny and Hangman are so superior in the ring. And definitely on the mic. Wardlow is not good on the mic at all. Wardlow's really explosive and fun, but in long, prolonged main event matches that AEW likes to have, not the best guy to have out there. So yeah, unless he develops that, I can't see him with the World Championship. If he's just gonna dominate everyone, why even wrestle? Like, why even have the match? AEW is all about the wrestling. This isn't WCW where you have Goldberg just destroy everyone. Aside from the storyline, aside from the segments, the matches in the ring, the in-ring needs to be beautiful. It needs to be like the Denver Nuggets offense. Or Showtime Lakers. When Wardlow gets to the heavyweight championship division, he should go like evenly matched against Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. As well as MJF, who's powered up, who's worked on a Stairmaster, and beat Bryan Danielson. MJF is not the same person he was the last time he was with Wardlow. He should not get squashed again. He should be beating Wardlow this time. Wardlow is just not him. I'm sorry, Wardlow fans. And with the way he's been booked, he's more not him than he ever was ever. But now with Arn Anderson, there is a flicker of a chance that he'll get back up there. So yeah, my prediction is he beats Christian. He's going to have that TNT title for longer. But honestly, I mean, by the next pay-per-view, you know what? Buy All In and All Out. Like, since those pay-per-views are pretty much just days apart, you can have him win at All In and then have him lose the title at All Out. Come on, just have him lose the title so he can finally move on to better things. He can be tested against better opponents who are so much better in the ring than him. He'll be right where he belongs, and he can develop as such as a main event talent. And you can free up the TNT title for someone else who's a workhorse, who won't make the matches very predictable, and who's been pretty much a loyal, like, backstage guy in the company. Roosh, for example. You know what? I can't think of anyone else. Roosh. That's your next TNT champion. He has the faction that can help him out. It can have Wardlow protected. You can also have that MJF connection happening. So yeah, like, that's your best option. And that can build up to the MJF Wardlow match, possibly at All Out. So yeah, after this is Orange Cassidy and Darby Allen versus Not the Firm in Lee Moriarty and Big Bill. So the Firm have been deleted. You know what? I actually might review the Firm deletion along with the cage match after this review. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But this was the last match that was announced, and it was the least built up. You have a tag team that's thrown together. You know what? 2 tag teams that are thrown together. But it doesn't much matter for Darby and Orange since they have singles programs. But when you have Not the Firm here, in Big Bill and Lee Moriarty, who don't have that much chemistry, like individually they're really good. They should be single stars. Or in the case of Big Bill, he needs like an Enzo Amore or something. But they just don't mesh well together. Lee's a very good wrestler. Like in-ring, technical-wise, he has that junior style, but he needs to rebuild himself back in ROH. He was touted to be like a future pillar of the company like a couple of years ago. Or was it last year? I forgot. But he was supposed to be a member of the BCC, I think, but they didn't end up going that way, but yeah. And then as for Big Bill, the in-ring charisma is his best thing right now. Man can also take bumps, man can move. He's the best big man AEW currently has. Like legit big man, like 7 foot tall, can't teach you that. Big Bill's better than a Satnam Singh or an Omos. And again, the in-ring charisma, the taunts that he has. The amount of personality in that dude. It's not serious enough that he can be a main eventer, but at least TNT title level. This dude can mock the shit out of somebody and it's very entertaining. Really funny stuff. He's actually one of the people who I think could beat Wardlow aside from Roosh. And yeah, Impact really missed out on this guy. This guy should have been Impact champion like at least once. He should have beaten Moose, and then Alexander should have won the title off of Big Bill. But yeah, if there's no room, if there's no perceived room in that upper mid card for Big Bill, at least find him an Enzo Amore, or like at least like get Enzo Amore into AEW. It's a really fun tag team. You can add a new dynamic between them that is just not Enzo getting his ass kicked. And you're going to have like an acclaimed level tag team in that division. So as for the match itself, as usual, Darby and Orange in the match, flawless. They know who they are, they know what they can do, they're staples in the roster. You know what they're capable of. And especially Darby in this match. The way he puts over Big Bill. It's like he's ready for the main event. The offense, the acting, and also the selling, especially for Big Bill. Like whenever he's thrown around. It doesn't look so believable, but it makes Big Bill look really strong. Like he spins him around. Story of the match is Orange is the whipping boy. Heels work on his back. They cut the ring in half. Like when it's individually, it's alright. It's really good when it's Big Bill. But when they do it as a tag team, it's just like so ordinary. Break the heel team up. We get a lot of spots where there's friendly fire between Big Bill and Lee, so that might be a sign that it's not working out for this team. So break him up. But Bill's in-ring charisma in cutting the ring in half and making fun of Orange is just like so good, so entertaining. It made the match. So the finish was awesome. An orange punch to Bill, who's on the apron, and then coffin drop to Lee Moriarty. Darby's not satisfied. He does a headlock takeover for the pin and the win. This match is TV main event pay-per-view undercard. It's that good, surprisingly. So top 3 spots of the match. Number 3 is that scrap buster, whatever the hell it was, by Big Bill, where he spun Darby around. Number 2 is Lee's spinning Gargano escape, whatever he calls his version of the Gargano escape. And the number 1 is the hot tag by Darby Allen. This dude's ready for Double or Nothing. My expectations were so low, but these guys just delivered. So after this is the Young Bucks are taken out by BCC. So this is a well-orchestrated fight, but not as well-orchestrated as Jericho vs. Strong, which we'll get to later. The Bucks are outnumbered 3-2, so they use their luggage, they try their best, but there's 2 main eventers there, and they get taken out. This was okay, it sets up for the main event with that heroic last stand by the Elite. So yeah, nice setup segment. So now for the Wardlow segment, him setting up the ladder match. It's a short segment where Arn Anderson interrupts Wardlow. Arn is really doing wonders for this guy. Is a nice dude who Wardlow can bounce off of. Since Wardlow's promo style isn't my cup of tea. It's kind of cartoonish with the Wardlow's world catchphrase. Like just the way he delivers everything. Maybe it'll get better when he's better pushed, or in the main event scene where he'll be there with actual dudes who can cut promos. Like the one he did against Samoa Joe, actually. When he's paired with a good promo dude, he can go. When there's a good storyline, Wardlow can go, but if it's like bare bones like with the one with Christian, we'll see what happens. Love Arn throwing the ice, but it's an alright segment. It does its job. And so after this is the Orange Cassidy promo that sets up the Battle Royal. It's a fairly serious promo and people are just judging Orange based on how he portrayed himself like previously. Like his storyline now is pretty serious. Dude just accepts all the challenges. He's burning himself out just like his partner in that match earlier with Darby Allen. And you can see the title weighing down on him. There is effort in his voice as well as a sort of hint of tiredness. Wrestling fans are so fucking dense. Can't you see something is a change in Orange Cassidy? People are just being blinded by what came a few years ago. You guys don't get Orange Cassidy at this point. I can fairly say that. You guys are just regurgitating what Jim Cornette says, what these old heads say, and you're not looking at what's fucking happening on screen. Shallow motherfuckers. So this might be the best time to have Orange drop the belt if you want to protect him. But I want to see him lose it 1v1. I don't know if it's against Pac since it'll be a lateral move for Pac. He was already a long All Atlantic champion. It's time to give this title to someone else. That someone's not Kyle Fletcher. Orange will beat him, and I think he'll win the Battle Royal. He'll lose that title at the next pay-per-view or heading into there. But at some point, the title should wear him out. He will lose that belt, defending it with like all of his body parts taped up. And it'll be a heroic last stand, just like with the Bucks later on. But with Orange, he falters and he loses the belt. And maybe he's given a vacation, but yeah. I think Luchasaurus is the perfect dude to take the belt. High work rate guy, can go to other promotions. He can bring Christian with him, actually. And if Christian does somehow win the TNT title, they both can have belts. And he won't outrank Christian, so yeah. So after this is the Sammy Guevara squash match followed by the promo. So squash match is the usual, GTH, and then we have a promo by Sammy. This promo is very simple, but it's anti-hero Sammy. This is the most babyface we'll get out of him, maybe until he turns on Jericho, but it's alright. It's about taking a few wrong turns to get to the right place. It's very relatable. You know what? I'm gonna elevate this promo a little bit. It's just enough to have him be worthy enough to be in the Double or Nothing main event. He honestly could have gone deeper about this specific events in his life, but this was pretty good. It was in his hometown, and we had no anti-Guevara chance here. This was followed by a Double or Nothing main event recap, and yeah, this one is the most bare bones of recaps. You could have had this on Rampage instead, since everyone in Dynamite pretty much knows what's happening. So this is followed by the Triple J versus FTR segment. And we have segment after segment after segment here. It's ramping up to the match part of the show. So after this is Triple J versus FTR. So the battle for Mark Briscoe's friendship. Right now, based on what has happened, I think Triple J is winning the feud. Not just in winning the fights themselves, but in actually endearing themselves to Mark Briscoe. I think they've done a better job. FTR have relied on their match, as well as the congratulations after stuff, but Triple J actually helped in the farm. They lived the life for at least a day. Dax and Cash didn't do that. For me, Triple J are the main feature of the feud, and I'm so in on them actually winning the titles. FTR are just too serious for my liking right now, but they're obviously gonna win. So this was so well done. Another well-orchestrated fight. We have Triple J coming in with guitars marked with FTR's names. And just like that. Smart move by FTR. They push Satnam Singh off of the stage right away. They're outnumbered, they're outgunned, so they take out their biggest weapon. Very in character for FTR to be this clever. And then the whole fight between... You know what? The part with Jeff Jarrett and Cash Wheeler, not very good. It was very simplistic. But the part with Dax and Jay Lethal was so unintentionally funny, since there was weapon use. But it was like Dax was stripping Jay, all throughout, up to his underwear. It was so funny for me. So Jay's taken out, they isolate Jeff Jarrett in the ring, they prepare to shatter machine the shit out of him, but then Karen Jarrett shows up, crotches Cash, and then Triple J get their heat back. So I like Karen Jarrett debuting, but the other team, the opposing team FTR, don't have anyone to counteract her. Yeah, there's nobody to face off against Karen Jarrett. FTR don't have a female member that can negate her. And isn't Triple J bloated enough? And why even introduce Karen Jarrett if you're gonna have Triple J lose anyway? This is a great addition to the feud, but how do I say this? Why introduce Karen Jarrett if you're gonna have Triple J lose the feud again? Isn't she supposed to be the one that turns them around or something. But yeah, like I I need to see Triple J win a feud like at least once. Have them beat another team in a feud. Come on. Stop letting the babyfaces win all the time. They just keep losing every fucking feud. And then they keep getting the title shots. First with the Acclaimed and now with Dax and Cash. Like, what's going on here? A very capable team, two really good wrestlers. But why do you have them in the title picture all the time when they keep losing? Come on. So yeah, Satnam Singh comes back, beats their ass, and then that's the segment. Really good segment, but this could have been a better feud. Like, the feud is already good. Like, for me, I love this feud, but the people involved could have made more sense. Like, Triple J doesn't make sense for now, unless they're built up. Just have them win a feud already. They're at their 100% power with Karen Jarrett. Have them win a feud for Christ's sake. So after this is the Darby Allen promo, and it's the usual Darby promo. It sounded a bit meh at the start. Thankfully, he doesn't stutter, like as badly as he did that one time. But Sammy interrupts him, and then they like make an agreement. They make a pact to focus on MJF. Very simple. Now I think all of the pillars are on the same page. We get more of that after the Jungle Boy Roosh match, but something's gotta give. MJF has to retain. There is no way they're getting the titles. So after this, finally another match. The Outcasts versus Britt and Sheeta. So apparently this was supposed to be trios, but Jamie took a night off. So they did an attack angle. I think from that 1 week, they showed the footage of her getting her shoulder injured. A bit too far away, but yeah, she took a night off. So of course, Saraya was removed. And now they tried to set up a championship match between Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter. Like, again, like a rematch. And I don't understand. Like, you have Ruby Soho there for like another 1v1 that we haven't seen before. This was poorly set up. Like, literally, Tony Storm got the title shot because she pinned Britt. I mean, we've seen this match on a previous pay-per-view before. Why not have someone else wrestle Jamie instead? Like, we know these girls are capable of a great match, just like when Jamie won the belt, but come on, like, you've been spinning your wheels on this feud so much that the payoff doesn't have much impact. It's either Ruby or Saraya. Like, Saraya is going to be at All In against Jamie, like, for sure. So why not add a wrinkle to that? Like, add a sort of twist where Saraya takes the title from Jamie at Double or Nothing. Yeah. Have Saraya be the champion coming in to All In. Like, no wonder Double or Nothing isn't sold out yet. The main event. I like the main event. It's like more than the sum of its parts. I like that they're putting them all in one match instead of just 1v1s with each of them, which will be like worth a lot less. FTR versus Triple J. I love the feud, but it doesn't make sense to have a team that always loses their feuds in a tag team championship match. Warden Christian Cage is one of the most interesting parts of the card. It's a ladder match. Wardlow's first ladder match. 21-man Blackjack Battle Royal. I don't know about this. Why not just have 1v1? Oh, Powerhouse Hobbs is going to be in it, but he's not going to win. Like, no chance. They're not going to have Powerhouse Hobbs be international champion. Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm. This is a rematch. I don't like it. Just like I don't like the feud. Anarchy in the Arena is the biggest draw of the whole show. Jade and Taya, I guess it's okay. Taya's going to win, finally. Someone's going to beat Jade, finally. Okay, so the Firm against the Hardys and Isaiah Cassidy. Meh. Adam Cole, Chris Jericho. After the match later, I mean, it's all right. But yeah, half the card is pretty underwhelming. And man, if they only did this feud better, if they only treated the women like with a lot more respect, not having them go out there in like multi-man matches, just like this one. If they actually had like things get more personal, more deeper, like because all the Outcasts do is just like spray people, and their goal is just to take the title. Like at least have an ideology that you would like to spread, have it spread like a cancer throughout the roster, or like a disease. Yeah, that's how you should do it. Like, have it spread like a disease all in the roster. Have it be like a civil war between the women. I mean, they could have added more Mercedes Monet, but she's out, maybe for a long time. You can have Trinity, but yeah, it's a bit too late for that. This feud's pretty much done, unless Saraya wins the belt. Unless they actually like gain control and like exert their influence throughout the roster, like this feud isn't going nowhere. But this match was pretty fun. It's spinning the wheels. The feud is a bit superficial compared to something like the Elite versus BCC or Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho. But this was okay. Like Britt plays the whipping girl throughout most of the match, and she's also there to take the pin. She was alright. She's getting back to that shape, but she takes a nice beating. The true highlight here is Shida. Like, she brings it. They, like, ran the match through her. When Shida got in the ring, that's when the match got good. It was a back and forth show stealer. But it should have been like this for the whole match. Like, even when Britt was in. Just, like, cutting the ring in half all the time can get like boring since it happens every match. So yeah, top 3 spots of the match. The No Future by Ruby. Number 2 is the Shida outside dive. And number 1 is the butterfly suplex to the Meteora combination by the Faces. The finish is the bog standard interference distraction, spray paint on Britt's face, and then we have Storm Zero for the win. That gets Toni Storm the title match, and yeah, this was like, if it was more of the Hikaru Shida part, this would have scored higher, but it's like TV. No. I mean, like, it was pretty good. So maybe TV undercard, pay-per-view opener. Yeah, that's the most I can give this. It's better than the build. It's better than what the feud was. But it's like slightly above average, just a little bit. And the feud's like below average, so yeah. So after this is the Collision announcement, and what a shit show. Like, CM Punk, the reason why Collision is being started in the first place is not gonna be in the show. Like, why even... Oh my god. I love the idea of Collision. I want more talent to be featured on TV in like more prominent roles, especially like if you have another 2-hour show that's live that will actually like have people watch it. Like, even if it does like 600 or 500k in ratings, it's going to be like NXT. So I mean, it's okay. But you're advertising it around CM Punk and now it's not selling well. Yeah, like, and Collision isn't even that good of a name. Like, CM Punk, come on, man. Just like fucking play ball. Like, show up. Who gives a shit about Ace Steel? He literally bit someone. He should be in fucking, I don't know, like maybe 30 days of jail. He like should have served time or something. You have a show made for you on a Saturday on prime time on TNT. Like, not TBS, like on the main channel. But you're not gonna show up? So this is just gonna be 2-hour Rampage? Like, if Tony Khan books it well, it might become successful, but come on, CM Punk is the main reason why the show is being made. I like that Miro is in it, I like that Thunder Rosa is in it, but they haven't been built up, they haven't been featured. CM Punk's name will forever be a draw, so come on, man. Punk, do something. Stop being a piece of shit diva. you're already in a separate show. Like, this is more. This is above and beyond what any other promoter will do for you. Like, just like go into the WWE. Who like gives a shit anymore? Put over Roman, make him look strong. Get your Hall of Fame. Kiss Hunter's ass, whatever. Or go to New Japan, get in that physical style, and then get injured. Who gives a shit? Bro, I swear to God, if CM Punk, like, after being given everything, comes back and then gets injured again, I'm like done with Punk already. Collision is gonna have a rough start. Hopefully, it does okay in the ratings, at least. But what a shit show. So, you know what's not a shit show? It's Chris Jericho versus Roderick Strong. This is the main feature of the night. It is a Falls Count Anywhere match where JAS and Adam Cole are banned from the building. Now, this is a well-structured, well-orchestrated fight that goes all throughout the arena. It sort of gives us a tease of what Anarchy in the Arena could be again. Or was it Stadium Stampede? One of those things. This match was nostalgic, since this happened before, like really. Those hardcore matches. And as a player of WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, the best wrestling game ever, with the best season mode ever. Like, Here Comes the Pain has the best gameplay, but that season mode was so bare bones. It took like 1 year. Like, Here Comes the Pain season mode only took 1 year. Like, no beyond that. And it ends at WrestleMania. With Shut Your Mouth, it spans 2 WrestleManias. With real storylines, like true to life storylines from lower card, mid card, and then to the main event. That thing had so much content, and I just did a mini review. But yeah, one part of that is you can also sort of take the fight all throughout the arena and then to the outside. Like, this reminded me so much of that. Because we actually got outside, and it's not Times Square. Like, the one at, like, the setting in Shut Your Mouth, you had, like, Times Square, but here we have, like, an island of dirt, but I'll get to that later. Side note, it's kind of weird that, like, wherever location you're in Shut Your Mouth, you're always in Times Square. But yeah, back to the point, it's nostalgic. They spend a pretty good, like, duration, like a good couple of minutes per location, and they use weapons in each of them. And not just like chairs or like basic shit like that. We almost had a chair use once, but it's interrupted with a unique weapon. So yeah, I love that Roddy is not a dumb babyface. Like, he goes after Jericho with his back turned. He still has that dog in him from the Undisputed Era. And yeah, like, for you people who think that, like, babyfaces should be dumb all the time, you're all still competitive. I mean, these guys are all still competitors. So they will take advantage of their opportunities. They still want to win, so they will do this stuff. And plus, there's bad blood there. Nothing's gonna keep them from doing this shit. So Roderick Strong will be a really fun person to play as in video games, because the moveset is just, like, so packed with unique shit. He runs the gauntlet with, like, running forearms, almost running over poor Aubrey Edwards. And of course, we have the backbreakers, the weird suplexes, and, like, the jumping knees, like, from a stationary position. So fucking good. At the start, it's all good, but there's this one awkward spot where Jericho goes for, like, his jumping clothesline, but the more I watch it, it's like he saw that Roddy was avoiding, so he stopped himself. Because he does this, like, jumping clothesline, right? That, like, knocks people off of aprons. Roddy has it scouted and then makes Jericho pay for it. Apron backbreaker. First third of the match is in the ring. It's stiff as hell, by the way. It's like Jericho versus Ishii, but less repetitive. They make each other earn it with, like, the hard chops. And then they go outside. They give the crowd their money's worth because, like, they, like, fight going up the stairs, and they don't make it look like they're just, like, helping each other out, getting through this crowd. And the crowd doesn't obstruct them. Thank God. It's a great visual going through this packed crowd in this side of the arena. They do what they can, like some strikes, some chops, some rail attacks, but what can you do from this position anyway? Like especially going up these stairs. Like I've watched shows in the Tokyo Dome, and it's like so steep, these stairs. Here it looks lower, but imagine if they did this in the Tokyo Dome. Like, oh my god, that was like terrifying. Like, I don't think there even was railings. Your railings are the seats. But yeah, there's a side entrance that I only found during my second Wrestle Kingdom. Halfway through the show when I went to the restroom. But yeah, terrifying place to be in, this place. They make it to the concourse, I think that's what it's called, or like concessions. And then we have a table bump without food on it, so you didn't waste food, good job. But very awkward Billy Graham death announcement here. I like that they didn't waste food, but for me it's okay to waste condiments, especially mayonnaise. Who gives a shit about mayonnaise? Doesn't taste good unless it's with ketchup and honey and then you make Thousand Island sauce. But yeah, I could have cared less if they used mayonnaise here. They make it to the merch table / stand that's empty. It's a nice visual to flex how much merch you're selling, but leave a couple there for marketing as well as some Easter eggs. For me, I would have put Easter eggs all over this match. Like, that's just my style. I do it in presentations. I do it in, like, group projects. I, like, leave little Easter eggs there for people who can get the reference, which is not many. Maybe put a Golden Lover shirt or an Adam Cole shirt to foreshadow the ending. We have a backbreaker on the merch table that looked like it hurt. That merch table had no give. The most boring weapon that actually connected is the stanchion. I think that's what it's called. It's one of those like bars that you put the crowd control ropes on. But that's pretty much it. So yeah, now this is like one of the scariest places they fought, and it's the stairwell. Like Roddy throws Jericho into the sort of ledge on the side of the stairs. There's a gap there that like someone can fall through. Jericho takes like a pretty fast dive onto this thing. They do what they can. They have a chop fight, some running attacks. Nothing too crazy since you don't want anyone to die. And of course, they go back through the same way. You can't have like someone be thrown onto the stairs like in a high elevation where there are also elevated surfaces on it. So yeah, this was the right choice to avoid some unnecessary deaths. So back to the concourse, where Jericho tries to use the most boring weapon available for this match, and it's a chair that's padded even. Thankfully, Roddy throws a bunch of spoons, forks, and knives. I don't know if you use spoons, but some plastic cutlery. And it's funny how much this, like, stops Jericho. Like, this stops him dead on his tracks. This sets up for the best weapon in the match, and it's the Mr. Softy. Very funny with like the white stuff being on Chris Jericho's face and that shocked expression by that concession worker. Great selling by her and great idea for the Mr. Softy. Jericho wipes it off with some papers he picks up from the trash can. Great idea. I don't know if it's planted there or he just like found those papers. But those have to sting on the eyes, and yeah, this was the right choice to wipe it off. And now for the last part of the match, and they've spent the whole night teasing this, that Jericho needs to stay inside the building or else, like, for sure, Adam Cole's going to be out there. And he does end up being out there. But I'm disappointed by the lack of JAS. Like, they are the heels here. They should be the ones waiting for Roddy outside. I think it would have been cool to have, like, Cole and then Bandito take JAS out. Like, have JAS just, like, lying all over the place. That would have been a better way to do this instead of having just Adam Cole ambush Jericho. It's not the most babyface thing to do. Like, if it's within the rules of the match, just like with Strong attacking Jericho from behind, like, you can do that even if the match was just like a normal one. But like outnumbering a dude, hitting him with your finisher, and then having Strong pick up the win, that's like a bit shady, but yeah, for me it would have been better if JAS were laid out. Like, if they had the initial intention of attacking Strong, Adam Cole's there, deters it, and then Like, gives Jericho's comeuppance. So yeah, that's pretty much the finish, and this match was really good. Is it on the level of the cage match from last week? I don't... No. It's definitely not on the level of that. It's pay-per-view semi-main. I like that Roddy won. But the finish was a bit shady, and they could have gone more, like, extravagant with this. Like, for a pay-per-view main rating, it should be like Anarchy in the Arena or like Stadium Stampede. They should, like, either do silly stuff or have someone pour gasoline on someone else and then try to burn him. But yeah, really good match regardless. So after this, we head straight to the next match. It's Roosh versus Jack Perry. This had the challenge of following up such a great match. Like, fun as well. And Jungle Boy really hasn't pulled his weight in this feud, like in the Double or Nothing main event. So they attempt to elevate him by having him face off against Roosh. But he doesn't really win convincingly. He wins via cheating, which shows that he'll do heelish stuff in order to, like, possibly win a championship. But, like, it's too much of a foregone conclusion, that match. And I don't appreciate Roosh losing to someone who is inferior to him. For me, Roosh is like TNT title to AEW championship level talent. LFI just keeps losing, man. It's just like Triple J, but it's more egregious with LFI. Because Roosh has been a loyal, versatile, great wrestler, great backstage guy that makes you wonder why they're pushing these other guys over him. Guy's a former Ring of Honor champion, proven, and yet Wardlow is still TNT champion. Like, Roosh is stronger than any of the pillars individually, for me. He's, like, right up there. If you're not gonna have him challenge for the title, maybe, like, have him beat Wardlow. But with Tony Khan's booking, he's probably just gonna have Wardlow squash him. But honestly, like, Roosh would be a more interesting TNT champion. He has the faction to back him up. Preston and Roosh are like the same size as Wardlow. So you can have Wardlow be protected even if he loses. So yeah, that's the next best choice. Either Big Bill or Roosh beat Wardlow. So this match was booked absolutely correctly to protect Roosh. He just, like, destroyed Jungle Boy from start to finish. He had him bleed early on. He no-sold a lot of offense, especially the chops, as well as that rebound lariat. Top 3 spots of the match. Number 3 is the no-sell of the rebound lariat. Number 2 is the finish. And number 1 is the belly-to-belly off of the apron, which almost spikes Jungle Boy's head. Close call, but wrestlers do this all the time. He's young. It's alright. I like the story of the match that Jungle Boy cannot beat Roosh in even terms. So Jungle Boy has to cheat, has to pull trunks, and then that's how he wins. That's number 2 spot. The only way that I will be completely okay with this is if Roosh gets the win back. There's no other way. After Double or Nothing, Roosh needs the win back. And he also needs to be featured more on TV. So yeah, this match, TV main event, pay-per-view undercard, it's really good. It's not as good as the opener, but it had a nice story and awesome spots. Post-match, immediately, Roosh gets his heat back. They beat the shit out of Jungle Boy, the well-oiled machine that LFI are. Like, literally, like, in the early parts of the match, they just, like, work like clockwork. Jose just drops the wire right there for Roosh to use, and like clockwork, pins down Jungle Boy at the right moments and helps Roosh tremendously well. So they beat his ass, like, all 3 of them. Pillars come in, save him, and then they have a face-off. They have, like, this alliance. But they're not gonna win at the pay-per-view, I can guarantee that. So after this is MJF swatting the microphone off of Renee's hand. I don't think this sets up to anything. BCC are heels. MJF's the one who beat Mox, so I don't think anything's gonna happen between them. LFI are still connected with MJF. We heard from Roosh that he wants a championship match. But yeah, please stop using LFI as MJF's pawns. It's time to reward Roosh with something. And so after this is the Tony Storm Challenge. It's a very impromptu feeling. It should have been Saraya, honestly. But at least we're gonna have a better match. Great promo, all the same. Tony's a great promo. So after this is Jay White versus Ricky Starks. So finally, a dude who can sort of cover up for Starks' lack of storytelling in matches. I don't know if it's just me, but Starks is more of a show stealer. He does the cool fast moves, and Jay White is more of the storyteller. He slows things down and he knows when to do stuff at the right time. It's odd that this match was set for here instead of Double or Nothing. Also, the feud isn't as personal as I would want it to be. And it's also strange that Jay won the match via DQ. I know Starks is like a rising star in AEW. He's like going up to that main event level, but he's not on Jay White's level. Jay White's a former IWGP champion, main evented the Tokyo Dome. He should win this feud. For me, this is where Stark should have like at least won via DQ. Wrong result, and the match itself was alright. Like they were saving up for their actual pay-per-view match. Pretty basic stuff for both men. This match relied also a lot on in-ring charisma, which both of these guys have, as well as body language. Love the stiff strikes from both of these guys. They actually have some pretty good chemistry. I like the moves that they pulled. But something's just a bit missing here. Like, it's missing that epicness. I don't appreciate the waist lock and how much it hurt Starks. I'm sure it hurt, but come on, a waist lock? Like, nah. So yeah, top spots of the match. Number 3. Which one's number 3 here? I think it's the Gourd Buster on the apron. I love apron spots, so that's gonna be there. Number 2 is Rochambeau, followed by the eye gouge to escape. And number 1... what's number 1? Number 1 is the Blade Runner counter to a pin. So yeah, I think that's what's missing. Need some better spots. Need some more struggles also. So yeah. And for the finish was really bad. I think Stark should have won here since Jay has to win the feud since he's the bigger star. For me, Starks can take the loss. There's no way he's main eventing the next pay-per-view. He already faced off against MJF, so give it to someone else. Page, Omega, or even Wardlow. And what makes this so bad is that Starks hit Switchblade, hit Jay White, like right in front of the ref. For me, if he hit Juice Robinson, it's okay. But fully conscious, he hit Jay White with a chair. Like, why even? He didn't even go with you at the... he didn't even go at you with a chair. It was all Juice. So why hit him with a chair? Like, why lose the match? This was so dumb, and because of this, it's TV undercard, pay-per-view undercard. So yeah. Oh my god. I don't know where this feud is going anymore. Starks probably is going to win. That's going to be the wrong choice. Jay has to win. Jay's also like possibly TNT champion. So yeah, third choice, Jay White. And so after this is the actual main event segment with Don Callis. Explains why he attacked Kenny. So yeah, Don's explanation was so weak. It's so incomplete. It's the common, I am the real, like, main member of this team. I made Kenny Omega. Without me, there's no Kenny Omega. This was the most basic bitch explanation that I've ever heard. He didn't even associate himself with the BCC. Maybe they're saving whoever Don has for Kenny after Double or Nothing, but like, if you weren't gonna have him be associated with BCC, like, why even have him betray Kenny in the first place? BCC could have easily, like, won that match without Don's help. Like, this wasn't the right time. Too early. Maybe have the Elite lose at Anarchy in the Arena and then have Don betray them. Because right now, like, after all of the L's the Elite has taken against BCC, I think the Elite's gonna win. Unless Don is going to join BCC with Takeshita. Like, that's actually a pretty good way to negate all of this. To have BCC win, to have this turn make sense, that's the best choice you have. And they're already associated, so Takeshita in line for a big push. fourth option for TNT champion. So yeah, after this, BCC come in and then they pretty much like shit on the Elite. This is your last warning. Like after Kenny tries to go at Don and is stopped by security and BCC aren't. Yeah, they destroy Kenny, make their way into the ring, and then we have like the best part of the night. Like this is the best segment of the night. Even if Don's explanation was weak, there's still chance for that to be like restored next week, like depending on what happens with Takeshita. But what happens here, like with the Elite and BCC, Young Bucks coming out, like injured, Kenny injured, them all picking up weapons to have this final last stand. They're outnumbered, they're outgunned by BCC actually. They've been beaten up so many times. Like their success rate is so low against BCC. These guys have been a thorn on their sides for like more than a month now. And they're gonna like go into this fight again expecting to lose. But then Hangman Page comes out, also injured by the way, eye patch. They all have weapons and then they go at BCC, final last stand, final charge. Very heroic like. And I don't like that Danielson is playing coward. Like he runs away. Like you're supposed to be BCC. William Regal would not approve of this. You shouldn't play the cowardly heel. They should have all stood there and took it. Like, I mean, Mox also avoided stuff, but yeah, they left Wheeler. They left Wheeler Yuta to get destroyed. Like, he ate all of those weapons. He ate a running trash can lid to the face, BTE trigger, buckshot lariat. Like, at least, come on. BCC are betraying their values. That's how factions fall. But yeah, like with Takeshita, maybe like that's gonna be less since you have like a big dude there. But yeah, I don't like that they're starting to become cowards. They should like be the sick, sadistic faction that loves taking beatings. Like that would be why they're so terrifying. Is because they can also take beatings. They're very endurant. Instead of being like these common cowardly heels. I don't like that so much. So yeah, Hangman challenges them to Anarchy in the Arena, like one of the best match types that we've gotten from AEW. The last Anarchy in the Arena was so fun with the looping wild thing. They might have like looping music again, but who knows what it'll be. Hopefully it's not Danielson's theme because that's so bad. Claudio's theme, looping, would actually be really good. Like this new version. Kenny's theme, not so much. It's his AEW theme is pretty overrated. So yeah, either Claudio, Wild Thing, or Hangman's. Or like just another song like Barbie Girl or something. Barbie World. Or Tool. So yeah, we are the heart. We are the soul of this place. We are the Elite. And that's how they close the show. Fucking segment of the night. Maybe second to the Bar Mitzvah. Really good. Above average episode of Dynamite. It delivered in-ring. It delivered out. And now it's time to watch the cage match between Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley. I'm gonna get back to you on that. I might release this video late. I'm also gonna review the firm deletion. So stay tuned for that. This is gonna be an hour-long video, a massive return celebration thing, whatever. Let's get into the cage match. So for the main event of last week that I missed, we have Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley in a cage match, and I think it's Kenny Omega's first cage match ever. I tried searching, but yeah, he's never been in a cage match ever with any other company. He wrestled a little girl, he wrestled a sex doll. He had a match that was completely outdoors but has never had a cage match in his life. But thankfully, this is Kenny Omega we're talking about. He took to it like a duck to water. The match started the right way. Very BCC. They jump him at the start. Claudio, Wheeler, Moxley all jump Kenny Omega from the start. Bucks come in, cancel Wheeler and Claudio out. But there's something weird with Claudio. Like, he seems to love eating double super kicks. Like without fail. Every time the Bucks come out, it's always Claudio right there being the first one to eat super kicks. Like, he thinks he can handle both of the Bucks, but they just super kick him. But in the end, they end up winning, so I guess that tactic works since BCC are a bunch of damage sponges. I think that's how they all should be. Like, if you're gonna have a top heel faction, have most of them be like just damage sponges or just be like annoying to wrestle. So finally, Kenny and Mox end up in the ring, and then the match is sort of divided into 3 parts. We have a cameraman in the ring, nice choice. It's a bitch to watch through like the cage walls. I hate watching that. If the cage is black, if it's red, if it's blue or whatever. Unless if it's the old one where the gaps are so big where you can actually see what's going on, just like with Owen and Brett. But with the new cages, you can't really get stuck on them anymore, just like Owen and Brett did. And it's harder to see what's going on inside. So glad that there's a dude inside. So the match just flowed seamlessly. They bring in the weapons, use it to its full capacity, and then they move on to the next weapon. Match was actually centered around a bunch of weapons, actually. First fourth of the match is centered outside. It's them getting into the ring. It's the faction members canceling each other out. Second quarter is centered around like a barbed wire chair that I'd say Kenny barely wins this quarter, since he put Mox through more devastating moves with the chair, but Kenny ate some as well. Yeah, this might be a bit even. Kenny was superplexed on a chair, like did a stomp, but there's this running thing where his hand keeps getting caught in the barbed wire. That was pretty brutal. But Kenny does get the headshot and makes Mox bleed. And they make each other's backs bleed. This was like pretty sick stuff. And oh yeah, consolation spot of the match is a spot that I don't see often. And it's Kenny going for a springboard move, but he gets pushed to the cage and crashes back. And just like lands on his face on the rope. The legit top 3 spot of the match is, oh yeah, at the start of the second quarter. First quarter is where they focus on the chair. Second quarter is where they focus on dismantling the ring. Mox manages to do this. And number 3 spot of the match is the fishhook spot. That was pretty sick, but trying to choke someone with stiff ropes doesn't look that convincing. But what did look convincing is the eye gouge spot by Kenny. That looked more devastating than whenever Mox tried to use the huge rope to choke Kenny out. It just didn't work visually. Wasn't spun around his neck enough. This part was the most boring part since it was pretty much the rest hold part of the match. The third quarter is the introduction of the broken glass, and this is when it started again to pick up. So Mox won second quarter. First is a bit even, but Kenny wins the third since Mox brings out the gimmick glass, so it's gonna crumble a lot. It's not really glass unless you're in GCW. And so the glass is poured on the floor, and then we have shades of their first lights out match that Mox also wins. But nothing here happens like similar to what happened there. Like nothing as epic as Kenny crawling through broken glass while in a submission. The bump here is a lot simpler. It's Mox putting Kenny in a chokehold, and then Kenny just lands on his back. Full impact Mox on the glass. We have a sort of weaker version of the alien spot that Kazusada Higuchi did last year. I think on Tetsuya Endo. Since he uses a mandible claw and then Endo sort of acts as if he has control. But the hand works as a face hugger. But here Mox goes for a rear naked choke. The glass is used in clever effect to break up a pin. And it's not like sold like as if they're in the most amount of pain. It's still BCC we're talking about. It's still Moxley. He should be a damage sponge. He should be used to this. The man bleeds nightly. Glass should not affect him as much as Omega. The only botch happens when Kenny delivers a dragon suplex. I think it's supposed to be on the glass, but that's too brutal a spot, so this might have been intentional. I think it's the commentator's error here. But Kenny fails to sell the glass on his tights. An explanation could be the tights are just thick AF, but it would have been nice to have Kenny sitting on a bunch of broken glass, quote unquote, be sold better. And if this wasn't enough, for the third quarter, it's closed off with the spot of the match. And I think this is what puts this match over as maybe, let's say, a top 3 to 4 AEW match this year. And it's the V-trigger through the cage. Not even a question. For me, the match is just too short. But this is still spot of the year. It's like silly. It's unrealistic. But it puts over the V-trigger in this kayfabe world that is AEW. It puts over the V-trigger so much that it can break through a cage. I would love to see Kenny finish a match with the V-trigger against lesser opponents. Give us some of that. He just broke through a fucking cage wall. The wall, not even the door. Genius spot, but I don't appreciate Moxley getting up first, even if he is a damage sponge. And now for the finish. Mox has Omega, he brings out the screwdriver. The screwdriver that has been the center of this storyline, that took out Hangman Page's eye, that was supposed to be used to kill Kenny Omega. Mox brings that out, then Don Callis from behind unbelievably overpowers Mox. Granted, he's weakened, but Callis is not a wrestler. Overpowers him, takes the screwdriver. Kenny regains control. He has Mox. He only needs to hit a one-winged angel, but out of nowhere, Don Callis betrays Kenny Omega, hits him with a screwdriver. Mox goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. So I got a problem with this a bit. I think it takes away from the BCC storyline since, I mean, they injured Callis. And Kenny didn't really do anything like bad to offend him. Like even stuff that can be perceived as bad. Like Don Callis' explanation is so weak that he needs to find a new wrestler to manage to go up against Kenny, to like represent him. Takeshita, but he's just too much of a babyface. Unless Callis himself joins BCC, which he doesn't do this week. But I can see the intention where Callis, after taking the screwdriver, all of this is legal. He might have thought to himself, Kenny's gonna win because of me again, and then he has this sort of mental breakdown in the ring, a crisis, and then he decides to betray his friend, his illegitimate son. This was done as well as they could in the moment, but this could have been done at another time. Or better yet, this needed to be explained better in this week's show, which it wasn't. But at least Takeshita might get a big push. So yeah, I forgot to mention, number 2 spot of the match, superplex to the chair, and then number 1 spot of the match is the V-trigger that destroyed the cage wall. Spot of the year. So yeah, this is pay-per-view main event, no question about it. What a sick show last week. So yeah, for the review of a match the previous week, the match of the previous week has to be the firm deletion. So for the firm deletion, this I think is the most high budget and non-cringy out of all of them. But it ends up being pretty safe. Like it ended up being a pretty ordinary match. Like this was a lot more fight-based and it was just like missing a bit more time. Like this could have been 30 minutes. Yeah, it should have been 30 minutes for them to like flesh out per member of the firm that were gonna get deleted. Like each of them should have had like something silly happen to them. Like we really should have had a Lake of Reincarnation. The boat doesn't matter. But like all of the stupid spots, like all of the hokey sort of broken universe spots all happened to one dude, and that's Stokely Hathaway. And it really shouldn't have been just him, because in the final deletion, it was like a tag team match, right? Like multiple teams. So yeah, like everyone had something happen to them. It was insane. The Rock and Roll Express were literally left in that plane of existence, never to be heard from again. This match needed a lot of that. Instead, because all of the interesting stuff happened to only one dude, and all the shine was given to Big Bill, Ethan Page had all of the dramatic moments, all of the like dialogue, and then Lee was lost in the shuffle. But truly what I would have wanted is for them each to have like a character building moment, have something silly happen to them, have Big Bill fall into the Lake of Reincarnation, but he can't sink because he's 7 foot tall and you can't teach that. Or like have Ethan Page fall in there. It's kind of hard when like there's no established, like if like your talent doesn't have like previously very over characters that are like memorable. Like unless, I mean, Big Bill's pretty much just big cast, so maybe he changes into Trunks. So yeah, so I understand why they couldn't bring in the Lake of Reincarnation, but you could have brought in like Willow or like another version of Matt Hardy, like have something crazy stupid like that. But I do like the setup. The setup is as is usual, like with this type of match. Heel team goes into the compound, they destroy things, they encounter Vanguard 1, and then Vanguard 1 sort of teleports them with a flash of light to the Hardy compound dimension, like where the shit happens. Like this first part is actually pretty nostalgic. It really brings back the memories of the final deletion. This match is missing a lot of that silliness, but they make it up for like tactics. Hardys came in with a very tactically sound plan. Since your opponents are Stokely Hathaway, Lee Moriarty, Ethan Page, and Big Bill, it's basically Big Bill's the biggest threat. Ethan Page is right up there as well. And your team is made out of Hook, Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt and Jeff. So like two broken down old dudes. One who's not very strongly pushed in Isaiah Cassidy, and Hook who's very strongly pushed but not against upper card guys. Hook actually ends up just fighting Lee. So yeah, Hook was actually harmed by this segment as well. Like he hit Lee with all the moves, but that's pretty much it. Like he also hit Ethan Page with a bunch of moves, but like that's all he did. Like nothing silly. This was the perfect time to bring levity into Hook or have him get his ass kicked. So yeah, even if Stokely is like a zero in the team, he's still like the play caller. But the biggest threat is Big Bill. So that's why they made an ambush. First of all, the teleportation. Flash of light brings you to a dark place. It demoralizes all of the firm. I also like that it's established that there are 3 referees, and Caprice Coleman is one of them. Like, it's not the usual AEW refs. There's also Lexi Nair there, who doesn't really do much, but I think watch out for Big Bill, like her dude. But yeah, I like the detail of introducing the refs, like the number of them. It orients us with the players, but not really like the locations of stuff. Like there should be a map released of the Hardy compound, but that might lead to thefts. So yeah, upon getting teleported, we get like a lot of fireworks, some scare tactics to demoralize the opposing side. This does work. Stokely bolts, and then hilarity ensues with him. But for the main fight, like for the fight that happens, like the main focus of the match is the fighting. This was an actual match rather than like sort of like a gimmick cinematic thing. Like the Ultimate Deletion was like too far in that direction, while this one is in the opposite. The final deletion was a nice mix of both. But yeah, I cringed less with this than with the Ultimate Deletion. Like the chair of wheels and the something something, just like terrible garbage. Still fun, but it's like the third best deletion match. But yeah, as for the fighting, I like the detail that it takes Jeff Hardy, like a subdued Jeff Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy to like bog down Big Bill, but Bill just takes them all out. He actually does number 3 spot of the match where he like choke slams Isaiah onto the tree like twice and then onto the floor. Loud bump, but that's probably just post. Yeah, great spot. They made Big Bill look very strong. And Bill actually steals the show since there's this part where he's isolated, he's fighting with Jeff Hardy, and then he's like choked out, but his facial selling is so good. His like eyes roll up, his tongue is out. It's like this man was dead. Amazing acting, amazing selling. Also the offense is nice. Big Bill week by week proving himself to be top tier talent, even if like not for the world championship, upper mid card, very solid dude. As for Matt Hardy and Ethan Page, they face off, and it's mostly just like an ordinary fight. This was actually the most, you know what, the dialogue between them was pretty good. It was the center of the drama of the match, and I bought it since I was into that storyline. But yeah, their stuff is just too ordinary. And talk about ordinary. When we get to Hook and frickin' Lee Moriarty, they just fought. Hook just kicked his ass. Poor Lee. Lee should have had something happen to him, like something crazy, just like with Stokely. And then for the best part of this match is what happens to Stokely Hathaway. So yeah, before we get to that, they all converge into this like covered court where like the ring is. This is where the match ends later. And I think they introduced this part too early. They should have roamed more outside. They should have had more creativity to roam outside, see more of the compound. Yeah, like this should have had a lot more silliness put put into it. There should have been a balance instead of just like having this brawl around limited parts of the place. When I saw this part, like this covered court, I thought the match was gonna end. I thought, this is it? But yeah, thankfully, Stokely Hathaway's part saved this program, since all of the shenanigans happened to him. So first, Matt Hardy's kids, Wolfie and King Maxwell, almost run him over with their toy car. And then he like makes his way into this theater room where he forgets that there's a match happening. I mean, when you're as scared shitless as Stokely, when the Hardys' scare tactics work so much on you, this is like a little bit believable. Like you would want to like chill or something, or like your faculties would not be all there. So yeah, Stokely suddenly forgot that there was a match happening and is beaten up by Matt's kids, which is amazing. Like this is spot of the match right here. Holy shit. Spot of the match is where, and also yeah, he gets beaten up by Matt's kids, all three of them. And then Rebby Hardy shows up, yells at him in Spanish. He's tased by Senor Benjamin, nice cameo, but we needed more of them. So yeah, this effectively takes out Stokely, and then we get to the climax of the match, where, yeah, this part was good too. Eddie Kingston-esque, they pour gasoline all over the Hardy Bros. And then Bill is about to light them on fire. But they're saved by a moaning Isaiah Cassidy who jumps over everyone. Number 2 spot of the match. This is real good. If this crazy dive wasn't here, this would have been worse than the ultimate deletion. But yeah, nice dive, nice fight feel. The other members of the firm are taken out, and then Ethan Page is isolated. The referees were like so, how do I say this? We're so corrupt in this match. They were favoring Hardy home court advantage so much that even they surrounded Ethan Page as everyone just kicked his ass. So they hit them all with their finishers. Swanton Bomb, Hardy pins, Hardy wins. Jeff lights their logo, and then that's the match. This is pay-per-view undercard. Final deletion is pay-per-view main event. This was not the most creative match, but this was the most fight out of all of these like cinematic matches. This is also the one with the most attention to detail, where we know who are the players. Lexi Nair could have been used more, and this had the craziest bump. It wasn't Jeff Hardy doing a swanton bomb off of a tree, but it was like a higher height for Isaiah Cassidy. I like the moaning, man. So funny. This could have used more silliness, but I'm okay with what we've got. Maybe next year we'll get another one of these. But yeah, maybe when Hardys are champs, and then the retirement match will be one of these. That'll be cool. Yeah, like imagine if they retire by being thrown into the lake of reincarnation. Yeah. Save that for another time. I'm contented with what we have here, but it's not like the best one of these. Final deletion will always be number 1. And yeah, another thing, I like how they don't bury the segment, because in the ultimate deletion, as well as in the final deletion to a lesser extent, we have a lot of apologizing. Like, we apologize for what you're about to see. This is not the usual programming. Fuck it. Just, like, go with what you're going. Don't backpedal. You approve this shit. So I'm glad that AEW isn't ashamed of having this in their show. Like isn't having the commentators bury the shit out of this. They actually treat the Hardy compound match with respect, but this needed a lot more of the silliness that we've come to expect from it. So yeah, maybe next time, hopefully we get another one of these before the Hardys retire. All in all, AEW has been on fire for 3 straight weeks. This week, tomorrow's show isn't looking like the most appealing match-wise. Like, the card is pretty ordinary. Let's take a quick look at the card. So in the go-home show of Double or Nothing, we have Lucha Bros versus Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta for the ROH Tag Team Championships. Okay, so I like the matchup, but Ring of Honor should not be in AEW programming anymore. Even if this will be a good match, don't have it here in AEW. Ring of Honor has its own show. It has a healthy subscriber base, so why have it here? This could have been something else, but I understand resting your starters for the pay-per-view. Next is Orange Cassidy against Kyle Fletcher. I think this will steal the show. Kyle Fletcher is like a really talented dude. He is the more promising member of Aussie Open, and with Orange Cassidy, expect a great match. House of Black versus Blake Christian, AR Fox, and Grand Metalik. So we have an ROH team against the Trios champions. They already lost against the ROH Trios champions, so this is basically like a foregone conclusion. Yeah, I like Metalik, Christian, and Fox. We'll see what happens. This should be like 10 minutes below, but if you want to put over Ring of Honor, have this last a little bit longer, like maybe 12 minutes. Fourth match is Taya Valkyrie versus Lady Frost. Depending on the amount of time that's given, these two women are very capable to have great matches. But yeah, it all depends on the time given to them. This could be the best women's match that we've had this month. Or it could just be like another ordinary match. But yeah, hopefully the Ring of Honor talent doesn't get buried. And then after that, we get all segments. We have a Jericho versus Cole signing, where Jericho will probably kick Cole's ass. That's my prediction. FTR versus Triple J. I think FTR should get beaten up since they're going to end up winning. This is hard. Or it could be like a neutral. They just get away from each other. They're on guard. Everyone's safe. Or they could get like a female member. For the Ricky Starks segment, this is the hardest to predict since, for me, Jay White has to win the feud since that's Jay fucking White. Former New Japan Pro Wrestling Champion. Higher ceiling, I think, than Ricky Starks. Just look at him. Just look at Jay White. But I could see Ricky Starks win as well. Or Jay can win, but with more Bullet Club help from maybe Kenta or something. Bring in Kenta. But yeah, this should be like a great promo segment for Starks and White. Okay, so for I think the main event segment, this is going to be at the main event spot. 4 pillars, promo, hopefully it's as good as the Bar Mitzvah. Hopefully MJF, Sammy, and Darby can cover for Jungle Boy's deficiencies. Who knows, this might be where Jungle Boy finally shines. And then we'll probably get another squash match, but that's pretty much it for this week. No NBA competition, I would like to add that. Denver Nuggets swept the LA Lakers, thank God. So we're going to have pretty much an uncontested Dynamite this week. So hopefully ratings will go up. Hopefully they don't go under 900K. But with this card, I expect a lower than 1 million. But yeah, that's just me. So that is it for this review plus of AEW Dynamite this week. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for engagement. Share if you don't know me, and hit that bell notification for future videos. Bye-bye.